Microsoft pulls one of the stupidest moves I've ever seen.
Facebook finally respects children.
And Qualcomm, oh boy, they're gonna stick it right in AMD's you know what. Let's get in the hot news already. I didn't mean to say that.
What's AMD's?
You get one.
Thank
you
you.
get one to get it out of the way. Welcome back to the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Tuesday, October 31st, 2023.
That's a date.
It's Halloween.
Ooh.
Oh, Reese is gone. As you can see, we also have somebody new editing hot news, so it's just a day of changes. Get used to things being different. That's what life's about. Your friends moving on, you never seeing them again, and you realizing that you're eventually going to die, and so are your parents and your loved ones.
I'm actually just Reese in a costume.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Your nar sounds different.
Nor.
Well, that's what I'm saying to Microsoft after they are banning third-party controllers and accessories. So yesterday's episode of Hot News, we praised them because they were introducing new ways for their controllers to be accessible. They were making it so the controllers could be mapped to keyboard inputs. But now they've gone the extreme other end of the direction where they now make it so that if your controller is not designed for Xbox, it will no longer work after 2 weeks of the first time it's plugged in.
So to backpedal on that a little bit, the Design for Xbox program, is that like a way for third-party developers
Yes.
to... So they just have to agree to letting it be used?
Yes. And if they are doing it outside the laws of wherever Microsoft is, once you plug it in, the time starts ticking on your Xbox using that controller, and then after 2 weeks it's banned. And Microsoft's advice, return it.
The Xbox or the controller?
The controller.
Okay.
The controller stops working. It'd be horrible if the Xbox did. This comes after the waves of third-party hacking devices where like you can use a keyboard and mouse input that looks like a controller like the Cronus Zen. But this is the worst possible way to go about it.
Those have been a thing for forever.
I know. Microsoft saying that they can compromise the gaming experience and whatever stupid reason, but number one, this blocks third-party controllers that make things more accessible for people, so you're going exactly against what your stated mission is for other things. Number two, it's been a thing forever. This is wrong on so many levels. I see no valid reason why they should do this besides made up ones.
I just want to continue to cheat.
That is I can see why you're upset with Microsoft for that.
I'm really freaking peed.
He's peed. All right. Well, you know who's M? Today's video sponsor. Micro Center. You should check out Micro Center for your next PC upgrade or whatever build you're trying to do, because they're the sponsor of today's video and we've got some great deals for you. The 5600X3D you can exclusively pick up from Micro Center, especially if you use the coupon code that we have for you today, which gets you $25 off all CPUs in store if you're a new customer. That includes all CPU bundles, which they have some great bundles on the 5600X3D, AMD, or Intel. If you're a new customer shopping in store with Micro Center, you can use our link in the video description to get $25 off a CPU. But because Micro Center is essentially Candyland for adults who love PCs, you should check them out wherever you are. And they just launched their first store in over 8 years, and they have more coming. Their next one that's going to be opening up is in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're going to have some absolutely crazy deals there. Anyone can visit the Charlotte location when it opens and receive a free 128 gig flash drive just for signing up at the link in the video description. A new Micro Center this year, another one early next year. They are popping up all over the place, making it easy for you to shop around and get some incredible deals as well as a huge variety of parts. But Micro Center also wants to show off the PC that you've already built, especially if you use the coupon, pick up a new CPU, slap that in a rig. You can participate in their build showcase, which if your build is approved by them, Micro Center will email you a coupon worth $25. There's no minimums, no purchase required. You just get $25 off your next purchase with them. Micro Center makes it so easy for you to find something that's going to work for you in your system. They have a PC builder that you can spec together whatever you're trying to build. They have a build your own department. They will even also assemble it for you for a fee in store with one of their knowledgeable associates. They also have a 3D printing and maker section. And they also have top deals going on this month that you can shop to find the best deals on whatever it is that you're looking to purchase. Big thanks to Micro Center, and we look forward to many more years of happy PC shopping with them, especially as they continue to expand. Don't forget to get $25 off any CPU if you're a new customer using our link in the video description to get that coupon. Big thanks to Micro Center for sponsoring today's video. You know who else is M? Apple. They had their event last night. Did you watch it? No, because that happens
That's
after
the
we.
future.
Yes, it happens after we film Hot News. So I don't exactly know what Apple released at its Scary Fast event, but according to reports, it should have been the M3, M3 Pro, and M3 Max in the iMac and MacBook Pros, with the iMac coming out right now. But you know the weird thing? They're holding physical viewing events for this party. So it's happening at 8 p.m. Eastern. And they're hosting a event in New York City and Mexico City for journalists and press people to come watch it in person.
But are they just watching a live stream in those?
Possibly, but then they might also have first hands-on access with the parts or the computers.
What if it's like a Rocky Horror situation where they're doing the live stream in the background and then there's people in the foreground acting out what's happening behind them?
Who tosses the popcorn?
The audience.
This is awkward. You're not Reese. We'll figure out our own cadence. We'll get there. It took a little while for Reese to be good at this too. Everybody only remembers Reese as he's the yummy deal master. Nobody remembers him with his thick accent and bushy beard being like, I don't want to sit next to Brett while he's doing it because I'm weird in the background.
I miss Reese's bush.
Intel might be missing their competition because they had their Q3 earnings event where they talked about what they're seeing coming out on the horizon, and they don't view ARM-based chip development as some sort of competition that they need to be worried about, specifically with the CEO Pat Gelsinger saying, ARM and Windows client alternatives, generally, they've been relegated to pretty insignificant roles in the PC business, and we take all competition seriously, but I think history as our guide here, we don't see these potentially being all that significant overall. Our momentum is strong. We have a strong roadmap, and also talking about the fact that things like ARM would be great for their foundry business, which is an advantage that Intel does have, where they can make ARM chips while still making their own stuff that is competing with them. It is a possibility that they won't suffer too much from this, but I've come to know Intel's CEO Pat Gelsinger as having a little bit of hubris. He's got that little bit of I'm gonna talk a big game about my company, and we'll see if he backs it up.
He can say whatever he wants.
He can do push-ups. Did you see him do push-ups at that event? Remember that?
No.
Oh yeah, he wanted to get everybody riled up, so he did push-ups.
That's a man's man. I don't know what to say about that.
Well, AMD also appears to be learning about their past. Well, Intel's trying to learn about their future. That was a roundabout segue. Anyways, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, despite the fact that it is an AMD-sponsored title, very much like Starfield was, it actually will have DLSS and XeSS support on launch.
What's the point then? It just works better?
No, it's not supposed to happen like that. That would be problematic. It's just you get it bundled. That's what the sponsor. And they used the console, or they used AMD tech to develop the game typically. So it does run better, but Nvidia can get around that with good software engineering.
Do we like this game? Are we excited about it?
It's supposed to be okay. If you look at the specs, you need a 5700 to run it at 1080p 30 FPS with FSR at low, which not great. 1070 A750. At Ultra, you need the 5800 X3D with the 7900 XTX, but that's at 4K. The specs seem all right. 6700 XT, 3060 Ti to get 1080p 60, again with FSR. So it's supposed to be pretty, I guess. I watched it and I don't know if you were there, but it just looked like Horizon Zero Dawn, but worse.
Without any of the artistic direction?
Well, it has the artistic direction of the blue people.
The problem is it looks worse than the movie.
How dare you? Also, the obvious joke here that you could have set me up for is the fact that they're called the Na'vi in Avatar, and AMD has a GPU called Navi. It's actually the architecture that the GPUs are made on, so it's the crossover event of the decade.
That was a really nerdy joke.
You're welcome. And you know what's the crossover event that's not going to happen anymore?
This one? No.
UFD Deals. UFD Deals. Reese didn't do deals before he left. But I do want to talk about it. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm sad.
Yummy deal, man. I got to say it.
Reese never said it.
I'm not Reese.
Are you me? Who are you?
I don't like saying it, actually.
It's not pleasant. It's not good on the throat. It's not good on anybody's ears. But you know what's good on my eyes? This Starfield PC that NZXT announced in partnership with Bethesda. They got their new Craft PCs, which are going to be this one's going to be in the H5 Flow, and it's like, this reminds me of what Zach's Tech Turf did on his Starfield PC, but this is going to be mass produced. Property of Constellation.
can you buy just the case?
Probably not. No, it's just
the-
part of the pre-built.
Starfield has such good marketing with their weird peripheral designs and everything, but I want to buy it. Why?
Then spend the money and get a whole new PC. And you need to spend the money with Facebook, Meta, if you would. But only if you're a European citizen, because they are launching ad-free subscriptions to Facebook and Instagram only if you're an adult. If you're a child, guess what? They now respect you and they will no longer have ads for under 18 people in the EU.
So if you want to use Facebook,
You got this.
say you're under 18,
If you want to use it ad-free, that's the, just
then just do that. Why
impersonate
pay
a child.
for it?
Exactly, like how children would say that they're over 18 for specific websites. Now you just,
Yeah.
you set your birthday as being under 18 and you perpetually change it backwards. Every single time it's your 17th birthday, you just roll it back.
It's like 17 again with Zac Efron.
I thought that was with, what's her name?
No,
Jennifer Garner.
that was Freaky Friday.
No, that you're thinking of Lindsay Lohan. I'm talking about 13 going on 30 is the one I'm referring to. Anyways, this is
Done
part
that
of
a lot.
how Meta's trying to get around EU regulation and making sure that they comply with GDPR. This is on top of the fact that Threads has still not launched in the EU whatsoever. They've got harder regulation over there, and Zuck's trying to meet their hardness and saying that they're going to continue to offer people free access to their personalized products and services regardless of income.
Oh, thank goodness I can keep using Threads.
Well, you should be on Twitter anyways, especially with all the money that creators are making. Why are you not tweeting more?
I actually am
Oh,
tweeting a bunch.
I
and
saw your tweet
making,
the other day.
I didn't tweet, or no, I did actually. I did.
Anyways, they're changing their monetization model where if you have a community note that's on your tweet, you are no longer monetized, which pissed off a lot of people who make a lot of money on Twitter. And by a lot of money, I mean $17 to pay for their, monthly Starbucks treat. This is
Or Twitter subscription.
Are you suggesting that this is a pyramid scheme? They're paying for each other? No, that's a Ponzi scheme. Get your fingers out of Pizza John right now. You're a menace. Where they're asking for clarification on whether or not all of this will apply to things like community notes to add context of the tweet being real but deleted, or, the funny accounts that make funny jokes and moral statistics saying my paycheck is going to be 0. Elon, answer. He has not yet. We don't know.
He doesn't answer. He's just gonna do something else. Start tickling some other features.
Well, Qualcomm's here with their benchmarks. The Snapdragon X Elite finally got put through its paces. Journalists are now allowed to discuss the benchmarks that they got to see at the Qualcomm event that was a few days ago, and it actually seems like these things are pretty competitive, not only with Apple and their M2 and M2 Max chips, although those are kind of expired because the M3s just got announced, but also with AMD. It actually slapped the poop out of AMD's 780M GPU, which is what you find in something like the Rogue Ally, the Rouge Elite, which has the Z1 Extreme, and they showed it off in multiple configurations in 23 watts as well as 80 watts, which helps to make sense why it's a little bit faster than AMD stuff, because you don't typically find it going up to 80 watts, but you can see in the Cinebench benchmarks that Qualcomm produced themselves, it beats out the M2 as well as the i7-13800H as well as the 7940HS, also beating them in multi-threaded, not just in single-threaded performance, and Geekbench also going toe-to-toe with all of them. But then when we get into the GPU performance, showing that it's up to 2.5 times faster than the Ryzen 9 7940HS, coming in at 350 FPS compared to the 139 that the Ryzen 9 got, and beating out the M2 at 295. Additionally, also winning with 44 FPS in the Wildlife Extreme benchmark compared to the 40.8 on the M2 and the sub 30 that's on the Ryzen chip. Now, one of the reasons why these benchmarks were chosen is because they have cross support for Apple's chips alongside of Intel and AMD, so it has x86 and ARM benchmarking, so that's why they used it. It's not quite clear if this is going to be that good, but another journalist got their ability to test it in Control to see how fast these chips are, and it beat not a whole lot at 1080p. It actually lost to the 7840HS in 1080p, coming to 53 FPS versus the 56, but in 1440p it won 32 FPS to the 30. It loses out to discrete GPUs, but this does look to be a pretty okay APU that's happening. Qualcomm might be shaking up what's happening in the x86 industry. Obviously, this depends on Windows having good ARM support.
There's a joke here. Like that?
The good ARM support, yep. That's the joke. Thank you, Kyler. All right, well, while we work out these weird transitions, let's talk about comment response and talk about the weird stuff going on there. Why are you doing the little bird pecking thing?
I'm doing push-ups because you said working out.
Okay, Metallic Blade said, Brett, are you really okay with spending over $1,000 for a card that only has 16 gigabytes of VRAM? Stop giving these companies your money. They have made fools out of the consumer. I'm actually okay. I actually don't think that I need more than 16 gigabytes of VRAM in how I play video games. It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
We're back to the VRAM thing, huh?
We're back to the VRAM thing. 16 gigabytes just isn't enough. It honestly actually kind of is okay for me. I'll be fine. I'll just use DLSS or FSR.
I feel like it wasn't that long ago that 16 gigabytes was a lot of VRAM.
It was last year, and now it's not.
Yeah, I don't get it.
BZ said, Reese, your presence on the show was a really solid addition. You're so much more than just the UFD Deal segment. I wish you didn't have to leave and you can stay to co-host with Brett. But thank you for the entertaining times and feel like we got to know you better. Have a safe trip back home. We already miss you.
I'll just go die.
This is about yesterday's episode. They don't know how you're performing right now. They'll say this tomorrow because...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's when you... Okay, Obscene Lobster saying, thank you, Brett, for the yummy deal gremlin. This is a wonderful set-off for Reese. My God, I'm going to miss the chemistry you all have together.
Mr. White, they said alcohol is No.
Live Strong saying, my man, 2 things I need you not to do. 1, the yummy bit, and 2, licking GPUs. I don't want to have to keep explaining this to my coworkers walking by. Why are you watching us at work?
Can I see that?
The graphics, are you gonna... It's got a lot of spider webs on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just been sitting there. Don't do it. That was never a good idea. I don't like any of this, so I'm gonna move on. Andy saying the biggest problem with the AMD G series is they cut down the L3 cache to make room for the GPU. Also, they cut down the PCI Express lane, so that's also a problem. Evan Axel saying, Brett saying, give me all your inches, Dealmaster. Make me have a triple take. I did say that.
You said that?
I did. I said it while he was talking about the monitor. I thought it was funny.
That is pretty funny.
I think it worked. X Gear Heart saying, Brett's yummy had me dying way too early in the morning. I could tell Reese was cringed and cracking up at the same time. That's what I was going for. And now I'm never gonna do it again. How do you think you did as Reese's replacement for the first time?
Yummy, Deal Master.
This is gonna take some time. We'll get there. Reese just sat back there while I did hot news for a while. He didn't even talk. This guy at least tried to word.
He did. He just sat right here, slightly out of focus.
Yep, slightly out of focus, slightly back in the frame, and I was like this. We've learned a little bit. All right. No.